morning, Your Majesties. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you that are new here, welcome to my YouTube channel. And happy Saturday. How are you guys doing? What are you guys doing today? Let me know down below. I have a story time for you guys. This one gives me clown vibes. What about you? What about you guys? Oh, okay. No. Fudge. Doesn't this picture give you clown vibes? This story is called The Grinning Man. Y'all ready? Okay. The Grinning Man. In the quaint, peaceful town of Willow Creek, where everyone knew each other and nothing unusual ever happened, there was a story that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. The tale of the Grinning Man, a sinister figure who appeared only at night. His face twisted into a grotesque permanent smile. The Grinning Man was said to haunt streets, peering into the windows with wide, unblinking eyes, spreading wherever he went. Most dismissed the legend as a mere ghost story, something to frighten children. Of course it was something to frighten children. Why wouldn't it be something to frighten children? Of course it is. Okay. And entertain the bored of that too. But for those who claim to have seen him, the memory of the twisted grin was something they could never forget. All right. Excuse me. Sarah was one of the few in Willow Creek who had no time for ghost stories. A strong-willed, independent girl, she had always been brave, often scoffing at the town's superstitions. The Grinning Man was just another tale. She thought something invented to keep kids from staying out too late. Oh, right. But one cold moonlight night, as she was walking home from a friend's house, Sarah's skepticism would be tested. Well, the night was still, the streets eerily quiet, with only the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant bark of a dog breaking the silence. As Sarah walked, she felt a slight chill, but she brushed it off, tightening her coat around her. It was then, out of the corner of her eye, she caught a glimpse of something, a figure standing in the windows just beyond the reach of the street lamp's light. She stopped, her heart skipping a beat, and turned her head to get a better look. My goodness. There, half hidden by the darkness, stood a tall, thin man. His face was obscured by the shadows, but something about the way he stood, so still, so unnervingly ridged, made her blood run cold. He was watching her. She could feel it, but he didn't move. For a moment, Sarah considered calling out to him, "Don't you dare do that." But something deep inside her, a primal instinct, told her to keep walking. Yes. She quickened her pace, her footsteps echoing in the quiet streets, and as she did, she heard it, a soft shuffling behind her. Sarah's pulse quickened, of the unease gnawing at her. She stole a glance over her shoulder, and there he was, still following her. The figure's movements were slow, deliberate, as if he had all the time in the world. She could see more of him now. The pale skin, the lanky frame, and the way his head tilted slightly to no one side, as if curious. But it was his face that made her breathe catch in her but it was his face that made her breath catch in her throat. Even from a distance, she could see the faint outline of a smile, a smile that seemed too wide, too unnatural. Panic set as Sarah neared her house. She broke into a run, her footsteps pounding against the pavement, her breath coming in short, terrified gasp. She didn't dare look back again, not until she reached her front door. With shaking hands, she fumbled her keys, trying desperately to fit the right one onto the lock. It felt like an eternity. Before she finally got the door open, she burst inside, slamming the door shut behind her, the loud bang echoing through the empty house. My gosh. For a moment, she pressed her back against the door, her heart racing as she tried to calm herself. But then, as if drawn by some terrible curiosity, she slowly turned the lock, hand trembling. Taking a deep breath, she peered through the peephole, her eyes scanning the dark porch outside. At first, she saw nothing, just the empty street, the faint glow of the street lamp, and the stillness of the night. Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay. But then her breath caught in her throat. There, standing, was just beyond the reach of the porch light, was the grinning man. He was closer now, his features clearer, and what she saw made her blood run cold. He was tall, unnaturally so, with a gaunt skeletal frame. His skin was deathly pale, almost luminescent in the moonlight, and his eyes, wide, unblinking, were fixed on the door. But it was his smile that terrified her the most. It stretched across his face in a way that seemed impossible, as if his lips had been carved into a permanent Grosky grin. Into a permanent Grosky grin. And as she watched, that smile seemed to grow wider, more menacing, as if he knew she was watching him. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. As he backed away from the door, her mind racing, she knew she had to do something, call for help, hide anything, but she couldn't move. The terror that gripped her was paralyzing, rooting for her to the spot as if she were in a nightmare from which she couldn't wake. Goodness gracious. Okay. Then, without warning, there was a soft, deliberate knock on the door. 3 slow, measured taps that echoed through the silent house. Sarah's blood ran cold. She stumbled backwards, her hands clamped over her mouth to stifle a scream. The knock came again, followed by a low, raspy voice that seemed to seep through the walls. "Let me in, Sarah." The voice was soft, almost a whisper, but it was enough to send a wave of terror crashing over her. How did he know her name? How did he know? Her mind raced, trying to find a rational explanation, but there was none. She backed away further, her eyes never leaving the door. And then, as if in trance, she watched in horror as the doorknob slowly began to turn, the latch clicking softly as it was pushed open. The door creaked inward, revealing the dark silhouette of the grinding man, standing on the threshold, his eyes gleaming with malevolent intent. Goodness gracious. Okay. Lose my voice here. But he didn't enter. Instead, he stood there, that horrific smiling, his head tilting slightly as he stared at her for a moment. Time to Time seemed to freeze, and Sarah felt the air grow thick with a suffocating dread. Um, and then, just as suddenly as he had appeared, the grinning man stepped back into the shadows, his figure melting into the darkness. The door swung shut with a soft click, and the house felt silent once more. Sarah stood there trembling, her mind reeling from what had just happened. But when she finally mustered the courage to check the door, she found it locked. Just as she had left it, had it all been a hallucination, a trick of the mind? But then she noticed something that made her blood run cold. On the floor just inside the door was a small piece of paper with shaking hands. Wait, what? She picked it up, her breath catching in her throat as she read the words scrawled in red ink. I'll see you again, Sarah. Keep smiling. The paper slipped from her fingers, fluttering to the ground as a deep, overwhelming fear took hold of her. She would never feel safe again, never walk the streets at night without looking over her shoulder. And she would never, ever forget the face of the grinning man. For she knew deep down that he was still out there, watching, waiting, and that one day he would return. That is creepy. Let me know if you guys have heard that story. That's going to be it for today's video. So if you're new here, hi, I'm Princess Peyton. Hit the red button to become your majesty and hit the bell notification so you're notified every time I upload a video. And I love you guys so much. You guys are the best human beings ever made. And you're the king of my heart. And the song lyrics are Taylor Swift. And I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. I love you. Bye. Mwah.